Howdy, fishing chummers. How you doing, chummers? Boy, we hope you survived 4th of July weekend. It was crazy, wasn't it? But there's some pretty good fishing, too. We've got some pretty good reports to pass on to you today. Out at Truman, I've had good reports the last 2 days. Some nice crappie being caught on the flats out there. We'll be talking about this. And the Table Rock's really been having some good bass fishing the last few days. And we've had some pretty good walleye fishing out there as well. And there's been some pretty good action out at Beaver Lake. And boy, at the end of the program, don't go away because we have a fantastic photo of the week. I mean, I'm talking about a huge mule here. So we have a good show for you today. Well, let's start off by thanking all the viewers last week. Over 11,000, going on 12,000 views. God bless you all. Keep passing the word. That's great views for this time of the year. We're in the summer months. It's hot. A lot of people saying, too hot to go fishing. But for you folks that's going fishing, you're catching some nice reports from Stockton, too. All right, let's go out to Beaver Lake. That water temperature can be anywhere from 66, 67, 68, right in that range. And they're having some pretty good fishing out there. I tell you what, I've had good reports of crappie being caught, and they've been picking up these fish by mainly crankbaits out there, the bandits and some of these pushing and pulling and trolling. Some nice crappie can be caught out at Beaver. We've had some pretty good reports of stripers. In fact, Hooked On Fishing, look right here, look right at it. Hooked On Fishing was out yesterday. They always get their people in the fish. Good going, guys. And stripers and hybrids, it's pretty good out at Beaver. I hear that a lot of fish are kind of at the lower end of the lake and they're fishing off the points and flats out there, but they're catching them. Boy, if you ever need a good striped bass fishing trip at Beaver, Hooked On Fishing. They do a great job. And our old buddy Richard Lee Rusher, oh man, he's been fishing down below the dam at Beaver, all that cold water coming out of that deep dam, and it's in the 60s, and they've been catching some fish, a lot of real nice brown trout being caught this week. In fact, look at Richard Lee right here releasing this beautiful brown. Good going, my friend. And he's had his parties out all week and a lot of limits of trout being caught down there too. And so that's Richard Lee Rusher and his great guide service. And Anthony Harville was out the other day down below the dam, and look at this beautiful brown trout that he caught. Ooh, good going. And you know, out on the main lake, jumping back up over the dam out of the main lake, there's been, like I said, there's been some good striper fishing out there. They're pushing and pulling and cranking and jigging for crappie. And also, they've been picking up some nice bass out there early morning, a little bit of topwater bite. So it looked like a small bait, like just kind of a popping bait, a thicker popping bait will do. And popper, that's what I'm trying to say. Hey, I'm old, give me a break. And they're catching a few walleye at the lower end points too, on mainly your night crawler rigs out there. Not a lot of them, but there's been a few nice walleye caught at Beaver. And the catfishing's been good. Boy, I've had good reports on cats, on night crawlers, big balls of worms, and also cut shad. In fact, Steve White was out. This is 3 generations of fishermen right here. Look at this nice cat. Look at that young man. I love that photo. Good going. Out at Beaver. Looks good, that's for sure. Okay, let's go out at Table Rock. My golly, we've had some good walleye caught this last week. The last couple of weeks, we've really been getting some nice walleye. I don't want to say there's a big run. You can go to one point or one spot and get 2 or 3 limits. That's not going to happen. But you are going to be able to go out at Table Rock and go point hopping and catch some nice fish. Maybe not numbers, but really nice fish. In fact, Jason Wickelman was out the other day. Look at this beauty. He's a chummer. Look at this beautiful walleye that Jason caught. God bless you, man. Babe, that's a nice fish. And my old pilot, Scott Pingle, was out, and he had his son out the other day. Look at these 2 fish. Here's Scott, beautiful walleye. Ooh, he's a walleye fisherman, and his son, look at this gorgeous fish as well. So that's my walleye buddy, Scott Pingle. Good guy. And what else is going on? Sam Prody was out the other day, and he caught some bass. Look at this bass. Good going, Sam. You're a chummer. And you know Michael Ray, he loves to fish out at Table Rock, and he's had a great spring and summer. Had his wife out the other day, Gloria. She outfished him, but he's a good guide. He caught some fish too. Look at this photo of Gloria. Beautiful smallmouth bass. Good going, young lady. Good going. Got to outfish the old man once in a while. Yeah, that's for sure. And Ronald Chipolo was out the other day. He's a chummer. He said, I want some fish for dinner tonight. He went off some of the points, I believe, picked up several white bass. This is a photo of a nice white bass, and he caught dinner. That's all that's important. Had a lot of fun doing it, too. All right, let's, I want to say hi to Harold. He's a chummer. He was out bass fishing the other day. Nice bass, good going. And Andrew, my buddy Andrew, he got that new bass boat, and they're breaking that thing in, and they're catching a lot of fish. Look at this beautiful bass that my buddy Andrew caught. You bet. Andrew Everett, good fish, good fish. And we have a new chummer from St. Louis. He was out and met some of our staff out on the lake the other day. Spent his 4th of July weekend out here. And his name is Keith Wilkerson. Good going, Keith. Good going. Look at this beautiful smallmouth bass, and welcome to the chummer family. Spread all the word out in St. Louis for us. Boy, I hope to see you again soon holding up a fish right here on Fishing Chums. And I think that's about it for Table Rock. Got the photos. Now, like I said on the walleye, we've been catching them out there the last couple of weeks. And they're kind of moving. They're on the points. They're coming out of the rivers, hitting the main points. And so what I'd recommend if you want to try walleye, go to the big points, use your electronics, kind of scoot back and forth on those points. And then use your electronics and see any activity. They may be down 25, 30 feet of water. If they're close to the bottom, go to the night crawler. Just use kind of a night crawler rig, like a drop shot with a night crawler, and that may get them. And if they're suspended, you see some activity maybe halfway down, go to your flicker shad or your flicker minnows, the Berkeley flicker shad or minnows. And so you may have to go deep. If they're just down around 8 or 10 feet of water, you see some streaks, go to a number 5 or a number 7. If they're a little bit deeper, go to the flicker shad or minnow and use a number 9. If they're way deep, you think you may have to go to 11. But usually 7s and 9s work the best. So walleye fishing, like I said, they're not catching great numbers in one spot, but what they're doing is catching big fish from one spot to another spot. So try it out. The bass fishing, boy, the bass fishing's been good out at Table Rock. Some people are complaining, but I'm telling you, off these points, they're still on the points, 15 to 20 feet of water. Do your Ned rigs. Do a little bit of drop shotting. Start off with your Ned rigs earlier in the morning, 15 feet of water. As it gets hot and sunny, you may want to go to the drop shots out in deeper water. But they are definitely catching fish. They're picking up fish on jigs too on the points. They're also finding balls of shad using some swim baits, and they're using jigs, flipping jigs and plastic worms, Texas style, off some of the brush piles toward the bank and swimming it back and dropping it. Ooh, they've been catching some nice bass using your Texas-style plastic worms as well. So bass fishing, walleye fishing may be good for the upcoming weekend. Doggone it. Picking up a few white bass, just like Ronald was out the other, Chipotle, I hope I pronounced that good name right, but he was out the other to pick some white bass. But several people have been getting to the white bass near the shoreline and the point, early morning, late evening. Some people are getting down there in the warmer parts of the day with spoons and finding some schools and finding some white bass with spoons. That sounds good. Few crappie have been caught out at Table Rock. It's slowed down a little bit, but they're picking them up in the brush piles in about 15 all the way down to 25 feet of water, and a few crappie can be caught on the docks as well. Minnows is real good right now. Okay, and let's see. Let's go to Lake Taneycomo. Taneycomo, the water temperature is 49 degrees. Did I give you the water temperature at Table Rock? It's all about the same, 80, 86, 87, 88 right in there. Now, Taneycomo, with all that water coming out of that deep dam of Table Rock, is cool. It's 49 degrees. And they've been catching quite a few trout out there this week. If you're going there this weekend, couple different ways. If they're generating water, oh boy, just get yourself a good 4-pound test line ultralight. Put you a split shot on it, a small gold hook on the other end of it, and about a half a night crawler. And if they're running a lot of water, you may want to put 2 split shots, but just something to bounce that thing off the bottom. And boy, there's been a lot of trout caught on night crawlers, half night crawlers. Some people are using minnows as well. And they've been picking up some fish on Berkeley Power eggs. And also they've been picking up some fish with that Berkeley trout worm. You know, that 4-inch, about 3 or 4-inch trout worm. Pink is always a good color out there. Use it, hook it up, and use a float up above it about 4 or 5 feet, flipping that out during the stiller parts of the day when not much water's running, or catching fish this way as well. But drifting night crawlers, ooh, be hard to beat this upcoming weekend. Some nice browns have been caught out there this week as well. Let's go out to Bull Shoals. Water temperature 87 degrees, 85 to 87. And look at Shelly. She was out there. I hope that Sheila was out the other day. Pardon me. Don't have my old geezer glasses on. Should have wrote it a little bit bigger. She was fishing at Bull Shoals, 4-pound test line ultralight. And she pitched out and picked up a 24-inch walleye. Look at this photo. Good going, young lady. Beautiful fish on 4-pound test. Oh, you had fun doing that, that's for sure. And speaking of the walleye at Bull Shoals, the lower end's doing good right now. We've had good reports of lower end points, and people have just been kind of zigzagging the points, kind of like Table Rock. You know, no one area is going to load the boat up with them with limits, but the area might produce a big fish or two, then you move on to the next point. I like the dam area, all those deep points, all the way back to Oakland. I love that Oakland area this time of the year. And what they've been doing is with your electronics, getting on there and trying to find a little activity. If they're on the bottom, go to that night crawler combination, that night crawler harness, or kind of a drop shot of night crawler will work. And if they're suspended, go to the flicker shads or flicker minnows. Bass fishing at Bull Shoals has been spotty. You know, it's that time of the year we're into the summer pattern, but I know there's been some nice fish caught the last few days out there. You might start the morning with a little topwater bite. I tell you what, start off with a popper if they want something subtle. You may want to go to a spook or a buzz bait, experiment a little bit, and you might pick yourself up a couple of good bass. And then go to the points. Then go to the point, go point hopping. A lot of these small, these Kentucky bass or spotted bass are really schooling on some of these points and drop-offs, and even on the bluff ends, I understand. And get out there with a variety of baits. Grubs can work good right now. You can catch some fish on Ned rigs, and you may want to try some drop shotting as the day gets warmer, the sun gets out. I know you can catch some fish. A lot of activity, a lot of fun fishing right now with the smaller spots. Once in a while they're picking up a good fish too out at Bull Shoals. And the crappie, not too bad. You have to go brush pile hopping, you know, and I know some people out there have been catching crappie, and they've been a little quiet about it, but they've been going from brush pile to brush pile until they find them and get down there with a jig or a minnow, and they're catching some nice fish when they do get into them out at Bull Shoals. Okay, let's see. Let's go Bull Shoals. Let's go out to Stockton. Scott Aiken was out. Corey Lafferty. Keith Hall was out the other day. Look at this mess of bass they caught. Wow, guys, you have been hurting those bass out there the last couple of weeks, and want to congratulate you. A lot of deep water fishing in the brush piles right now. Some people are using swim baits, but a lot of jig fishing. They've been using a variety of baits, but they are catching them. I'm telling you, they're really catching some nice bass out there. Look at these guys. Boy, they've been doing this the last couple of weeks. Beautiful, beautiful fish. And Michael and Elsie was out there. Simon was out the other day too. They were at nighttime fishing for bass. And look at this beautiful bass they caught on a plastic worm in the middle of the night. Good going, Elsie and Michael, Simon. Good going. And to wrap this up at Stockton, Scott Pace was out the other day, and he was walleye fishing with his group, and look at these beautiful walleye Scott and his group got into. So they're still catching crappie and walleye out at Stockton, along with those big bass. Now for the walleye, we've been talking about this the last 3 or 4 weeks. they're still on the points. You know, just need to get your good electronics and just go back and forth on the points. And what I do when I'm out at Stockton, if I don't see anything on the point, you know, no activity, with my locator, my graph, I go to the next point until I do find a point that's got some fish on it. You may not catch great numbers, but if you see them down low, go to the nightcrawler, jig and nightcrawler combination, or a horse head and nightcrawler combination, kind of drift it up. And if there's not much wind, just use your electric motor. Other people have been using the flicker shads out there. And I said this the last couple of weeks, you never know what you're going to catch when you're using a flicker shad. I mean, out at Stockton, I've been catching walleye, been catching crappie, white bass, so flicker shad may be a good bet for the upcoming weekend. But it's overcast and windy. You try that night crawler on the bottom. I think you'll catch some fish. The crappie, I've heard, is a little tougher out there, but some of the boys have been hurting them a little bit. Some people are doing spider rigging, other people are just trolling crankbaits, other people are getting into the brush piles in about 15, 18, 20 feet of water with minnows, catching some crappie out there. And also we've had some reports of white bass surfacing out there. Now this is a fun thing to do in the late evening hours. Take the kids out, load them up with some white jigs, that's all you need. See those white bass come up, have them cast out to them, and they can have a ball. Now a lot of these whites aren't the big ones right now, they're small, but they're a lot of fun, especially for the kids. That's out at Stockton, and I understand the catfishing's been good out there on cut shad and balls of worms. A lot of nice cats being caught at Stockton. So Stockton looks like a good bet for the upcoming weekend. Look at Scott, Corey, and Keith. Man, they have been catching some beautiful bass. And so get out at Stockton. That water temperature is around 86 out there this morning. Okay, Pomme de Terre, 86, 87 degrees on the surface. It's slowed down a little bit out there, but I'm telling you, the guys who know what they're doing, they're catching some crappie. And they're going to the brush pile, and here again, it's like brush pile hopping. They know where the brush piles are. They don't find anything in one brush pile. They don't waste too much time. They go to the next one until they do find them, and they're catching some really nice crappie out at Pomme de Terre, mainly on minnows or jigging minnows. And the bass fishing been pretty good out there. They've been pitching Texas-style plastic worms in the brush piles and dropping them down. And they've been doing some swim bait fishing out there as well. A little bit of a topwater bite in the early morning. So try Pomme de Terre. Yeah, sounds good. Truman, 87 degrees out there on the surface, and we want to say howdy to Nancy Rose. Hi, Nancy. How you doing, kiddo? You started your 4th of July weekend great out there, didn't you? Right away, she caught this beautiful walleye. Isn't that beautiful? Out at Truman. Beautiful, beautiful fish, Nancy. That's the way to start the 4th of July weekend. And Jim Murphy, our old buddy, he's a chummer. He's been going out catching crappie pretty consistently out at Truman and catching some nice eating size fish. Good going, Jim. Good to hear from you, buddy. And Jason Chapman was out the other day on Truman. Look at this beautiful bass he caught. There's some good bass being caught at Truman right now. We'll be talking about that on our reports. And our old buddy Jordan Lear and Sierra was out the other day at Truman and picked up these beautiful white bass. Boy, they're a lot of fun. These kids can fish, I'm telling you. Great, great chummers. Love both of them, that's for sure. Now the reports on Truman. Get back on the flats. That's where the crappie are. Definitely on the flats. And you can find a big flat with a tree row coming out, an old dead tree row or an old fence row, dead single trees or maybe some cedar trees. Get out there, and I love to fish Truman this time of the year because I go out there and I have a long pole and also just my regular crappie ultralight. Get out there with a jig. I may have to tip with a minnow and go to each one of these little structures, whether it be a tree row, a fence row, trees, and get in there and just vertically fish that thing down around 12 to 14 feet of water right now. And you can catch some beautiful crappie out at Truman without a doubt. And the walleye, I've heard some few walleye, just like Nancy Rose. They've been picking up a few walleye this week out at Truman, mainly around the KK Island area, 15 to 25, 30 feet of water, jig and night crawler. You might want to try that. And at times some white bass have been coming up, and there's been a few nice hybrids caught out at Truman as well. And the catch fishing's been pretty good. They've been catfishing with cut shad on the flats, just kind of drifting them with your trolling motor. There's been some real nice cats caught out at Truman. Okay, let's go out to Lake of the Ozarks, 84 degrees, 85 degrees out there this morning. And been some crappie caught out at Lake of the Ozarks. Don't go away now because we have the photo of the week coming up and it's awesome. Jeff was out the other day and a mile marker 42 or 43 and he picked up some nice crappie. Look at this crappie. Some people have been trolling for them. Some people have been spider rigging. Some people have been using their crankbaits. But they're catching some nice crappie out there. Other people are going to the deep water brush piles 15 to 25 feet with minnows catching fish at Lake of the Ozarks. So that looks good. And let's see, what else? Oh, Darren McLaughlin was out. He's a chummer, and he was up in the Drake Harbor area the other day and picked up this beautiful cat. And there's been some nice catfish caught at the upper end down below Truman Lake, at the upper end of Lake the Ozark, and that Drake Harbor area, you know, that whole stretch. Been some good catfishing with cut shad this week. And this brings us to our photo of the week. Michael Parker was out just a couple days ago, and look at this monster. My gosh. Michael said my weight only went to 50 feet, and it maxed it out and went beyond that, or 50 pounds. 50 pounds. But it went beyond that. I don't know how big that fish was. But that's our photo of the week. Michael Parker at Lake of the Ozarks, monster catfish on cut shad. Good going, Michael. Woo, good fish. Man, you the man, you the man. All right, let's wrap this up. Go out to Norfork, 88 degrees on the surface. And they've been picking up some stripers out there off some of the deep water points. I've heard of anywhere from 60, 70, 80, and 100 feet of water. They may be down around 60 or 70 feet of water. Cut shad's been doing good and big spoons. Walleye, quite a few walleye being caught out at Norfork. A lot of short fish, but some nice keepers as well. And about 25 feet of water with the jig and night crawler combination or spoons, either one. And the bass fishing's been really heating up out at Norfork. Early morning, a little topwater bite. In the later days, pitching plastic worms can be good, or swim baits. And the crappie fishing's been fair too. They're in deeper water in the brush piles. So Norfork may be good for the upcoming weekend. Not a bad report for, yeah, we're going on the middle of July. And big 4th of July weekend. It's going to be a nice weekend this weekend. I hope you can get out and get bit. All right, I want to thank all the viewers. We had over 11,000, going on 12,000 views last week. God bless you. And our people over on YouTube. A lot more of you used to watch us on YouTube, but you're watching us on Facebook, but that's okay. YouTube, be sure to like and share. And if you're new to YouTube, be sure to subscribe. There you go, Kathy. Put that up there. Subscribe. Join our family. And if you have any photos you want to send in for you people on YouTube, go to our email. Email us at fishingchums@gmail.com. And we'll get those photos and get it on the air. Now for our folks, thousands of you viewers over on Facebook. God bless you. Just keep getting more and more viewers. And we want to invite you to join our Fishing Chums group. Join our group. Put it up there, Kathy. What happens with your group, you can send the photos in very easy by going to our group, and we can put them on the air here during the show. And also you can discuss things with fellow chummers. We get together and we talk about different baits and different lakes, what's going on. It's a lot of fun. So be sure to join our Fishing Chums group. And like and share, and once again send those photos through our group. So there you go. Pretty good show for in the middle of the 10th of July, whatever it is. All right, I want to thank you very much for being with us. And Michael Parker, that huge cat, God bless you. And all you chummers that sent in these photos, all you chummers out at Table Rock catching those walleye this week, and all you people at Truman, everywhere, thank you very much, all you people at Stockton. Okay, Kathy, I tell you what, we've got some great photos coming your way on our photo roll. Once again, thank you very much. And if I don't see you on the lake this weekend, I want to see you next week at this same time, right here on Fishing Chums. God bless you all. Kathy, roll those photos.